my blood, with every breath in my lungs. Won't stop until I'm phenomenal.
What is up, phenomenal fans? I am back at it again with another video, and I am back in my garage to talk about some more wrestling, because I am here to talk about WWE Extreme Rules 2020. I am here to talk about Extreme Rules, the horror show. Okay, fine. What is up, phenomenal fans? I am here to provide my reactions to the horror show at Extreme Rules. Did I get it right that time? Woo! So I just got done watching Extreme Rules. I don't care about the horror show name. There's a reason why it was a horror show. Horror stood for horrible. It was not a good pay-per-view, okay? Let's just break it down. Again, I just got done watching the show. It was... let's just get into it. So first off on the Kickoff show, I didn't actually watch the match. It was Kevin Owens versus Murphy. I'm assuming it was a good match. I heard a couple comments about it. I saw a couple things, on Facebook about it. But Kevin Owens picked up the win. Woohoo! The first match of the regular show is the Tag Team Tables match. It's Cesaro, Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro, we'll come up with a name later, challenging the New Day for the Smackdown Tag Titles in a tables match. In this match, it was a great match to start the show, and you know the WWE rule these days. You start off a pay-per-view with a great match, you're like, woo, this pay-per-view is going to be good. Well, we'll get to that later. But let's start off positive, a great tag team tables match. So many clever spots. One of them, Big E's spear through the ropes, almost put like Nakamura, I think it was, through the table. Kofi did his trust fall, there was dives, there was catch. It was a great match, but in the end, Cesaro got Kofi Kingston up. Powerbomb off the top rope to the outside, through two tables stacked on top of each other. Very brutal looking, very nice way to end the match. Cesaro and Nakamura are the tag team champions, so if you're not going to give them a singles title, fine, let's put them together. I like their gimmick. Their gimmick is, they're, like, upset with being, like, basically underutilized, sort of. Like, not getting the respect that they deserve, blah, blah, blah. So, Cesaro, Nakamura, tag champs, I like it. Other than the fact that in 2 weeks, the New Day will probably win them back. Gotta get them up to their, more than the Dudley Boys, or whoever they're trying to beat. But Cesaro, Nakamura, new SmackDown tag champs, very good start to the show. Next up for the SmackDown Women's Championship, it is Bayley, the role model, Bayley Dose Straps, whatever she calls herself now. Bayley defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Nikki Cross, and this was a decent match. Nothing too crazy, but definitely wasn't bad. It was a nice follow-up match. We just started off with a good tables match, then we got the singles match, Bayley, Nikki Cross. Very good match. Nikki Cross hit her little spinning neckbreaker on the outside in the end. So decent match, nothing bad. Bayley retains. Next up, the match that I'm least looking forward to on the card, MVP versus Apollo. Wait a minute, Apollo Crews, the Lashley lock, he got locked in a submission for a couple seconds on Raw, and a month later, he can't compete. So the story is, a month ago on Raw, Bobby Lashley locked Apollo Crews in the Lashley lock, or the full Nelson, or whatever we're calling it now. Just the full Nelson, it doesn't have a clever name. He locked him in the full Nelson, and all of a sudden, he's not on Raw every week. Goes up, we're getting ready to have Apollo Crews MVP. MVP's got that new beautiful US title. We're about to have Apollo Crews and MVP, and then MVP comes out, and we're like, oh, Apollo Crews, he couldn't compete. He can't compete. That Lashley lock a month later still has damage on him. I'm not trying to take shots at him. I'm assuming that unfortunately something with the virus, something with the COVID, has got something to do with this. I'm assuming maybe a family member of Apollo Crews has gotten it, or maybe Apollo Crews himself is one of the 3 dozen or however many people got it, so I'm not going to rib on this just because, Lashley lock kept him on for a month, because they probably didn't plan to have it end this way, but MVP declares himself the new US champ, so this is probably building towards Apollo Crews. Big return, brings back the old, not as good looking belt, and we're probably going to get a title versus title match, or whatever. Next up, it is time for somebody to get an eye extracted from their sockets. It's Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins in an eye for an eye match. So we knew going into this match, nobody's actually going to get their eye out. What are they going to do? Are they going to get a googly eye? They're going to get a marble. What are they going to do to make us seem like they got an eye pulled out? But this is PG family friendly, isn't it? But we start thinking out, this is actually a very brutal match. There's a table involved, throwing each other to the barricade. We got kendo sticks. We got tools. This is low-key very brutal. So in the end, Seth has got Rey in the all-vintage, shoving his eye in the corner of the step spot, which is really hard to watch, though. Even though we know he's not actually getting his eye removed, the whole point is that he's getting his eye removed. So he shoves his eye in the steps, Rey Mysterio's screaming, and I'm like, okay, did he lose his eye? Bell rings, we're like, okay, Rey Mysterio lost his eye, and then Seth starts puking. I don't know how he did he actually throw up? You can't just go a 20-minute match, however long it was, with fake puking you, and then just bleh. But Rollins is puking, Rey's screaming, Rey doesn't have his eye. I saw a picture on Facebook, you actually can see the marble thing they got in there. It's incredibly hilarious, but Seth Rollins wins. This is very sad, though. It's writing Rey off. Rey's not a WWE superstar anymore. He's competing without a contract. I want Rey to just end his career in WWE, so hopefully he'll be back soon. He'll get the pay raise he deserves. But Seth Rollins wins the eye for an eye. And this one is very interesting. It's Asuka versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship. First off, a very good match. Two of the best women's wrestlers in the world, without a doubt. Incredibly good match. Lots of sequences, lots of good spots. Asuka went for like a German from the top. Sasha did a backflip. Yeah, a black flip. A backflip counter from the top. She did one at one point botch. She went to the second row, went for like a meteor or something. Slipped. Looked like she hurt her knee. I don't know if that was planned or not, but anyways, the ending. Oh boy, let's get to the ending. So in the end, this is such an overbooked mess in the end. So Bayley throws the title into the ring, distracting the ref, while Sasha's locked in the Asuka lock. Of course, Sasha's tapping out as the ref is getting rid of the title, blah, blah, blah. Bayley then comes in, smashes her with the title, and then Asuka comes in. It's just a lot of mess. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. It's a big mess. Asuka ends up going for the mist. Misses, hits this ref. This poor ref, he was getting yelled at by Sasha earlier. Now he's getting misted. I think he's a new ref, but Asuka accidentally misted the ref. And then Bayley hits her, blah, blah, blah. 2-on-1 assault, whatever. And then Bayley takes the ref shirt, puts the ref shirt on, counts the 1, 2, 3. And we're like, what's going on? The theme doesn't play, the bell doesn't ring, the ring announcer isn't announcing Sasha as the winner. Bayley goes over, terrifies the bell keeper, whatever you want to call him, to ring the bell. So then Bayley grabs the women's title, gives it to Sasha, and then Sasha's music plays. We don't get a ring announcement. The commentators are like, oh no, don't worry, Sasha's not the champion. And some people are like, oh, I think we have a champion, blah, blah, blah. So, why can't Asuka just beat Sasha? So this is probably their way to get ratings. Oh, let's tune into Raw. What's going to happen with the title? So, Sasha, the champion? Maybe? There's a reason why they call this the horror show. Let's move on. So next up for the WWE Championship, Dolph Ziggler picks the stipulation. What's it going to be? Is it going to be a lumberjack match? Is it going to be an Iron Man match? A TLC match as it was rumored? Hell in a Cell? An eye for an eye match? A Braun panties match? What are we going to get? So Dolph gets on the mic, he's like, oh, do your ring announcements, then I'll announce my stipulation. So Mike Rome does the announcements, blah, blah, blah. The Dolph's like, Drew, I've outsmarted you, blah, blah, blah. I say blah, blah, blah a lot in these videos nowadays. But he's like, this is going to be an Extreme Rules match. We're like, whoa, we got the namesake Extreme Rules. How can we not have an Extreme Rules match in the Extreme Rules card? The horror show. Anyways, it's Extreme Rules, but just for me. You can't use weapons. I can. And also, if you get counted out, if you get disqualified, I will win the title. So honestly, it's really cool. It shows that Ziggler's like, oh, he's trying to weasel Drew into an unfair situation, blah, blah, blah. So Extreme Rules match, Drew can get disqualified, Drew can get counted out. Let's see how it was. This match was actually good. It had a nice little, Drew's getting ready to put him to the table, Drew's getting ready to use the chair, but if he uses that, if he puts him to the table, if he hits him with the chair, he's going to get disqualified, he'll lose the title. So, I like that little bit in there. Dolph ended up hitting a giant elbow drop off of, like, the LED condom ring post thingy, puts Drew through the table, but in the end, Drew goes for the countdown. Claymore, 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre retains the title. Solid action, really cool. I like the idea of Dolph uses the weapons. Dolph can't get counted out. Drew can't use the weapons. Drew can get counted out. I really like that. But in the end, Drew McIntyre retains the title. And oh boy, here we go. The main event, the Wyatt Swamp Fight. We've had so many great cinematics. We've had the Firefly Funhouse. We've had the Boneyard match. We've had the Money in the Bank ladder match. We've had the Stadium Stampede, although it wasn't really cinematic. We've had, the Backlot Brawl, which wasn't too good. How will the Swamp Fight do? Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman going one-on-one. So I'm not going to explain the whole match, or else we'd be in my garage for the next 20 minutes as my fridge decides to go off. We'd be here forever if I explained the whole match, but I will, go over some key points. We start things off. Braun Strowman pulls up. I'm here as Bray's just rocking in his chair. All of a sudden, lights go out. His car lights or whatever turned off magically, and Bray's gone. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Here comes some cinematic nonsense. So then we got these men. You can't really tell who they are. There's probably 3 of them just jumping Strowman. Strowman's throwing them all around. Strowman's looking for Bray. He's just beating up these dudes. Then all of a sudden, this is the power of cinematic pre-taped wrestling. Braun Strowman gets assaulted with a shovel. Who's he getting assaulted by? Is it Bray Wyatt? Is it the Firefly Funhouse one? Is it The Fiend? Is it John Cena? Is it Randy Savage? Is it the Ultimate Warrior? Is it Hornswoggle? It's Braun Strowman himself. It's, pre-taped. You got a wig. You got his black mask. It's Braun Strowman from the Wyatt family. He's like, what? What's going on? Like, if you saw yourself from 4 years ago, you'd be like, what's going on? I'm, dreaming. I'm dead. All of a sudden, Braun 2016 hits him with a shovel. Braun's out. Braun's up. He's in a room. He's locked up in a chair. He's chained up with some pretty loose-looking chains. And all of a sudden, Bray Wyatt's standing there. Then they end up fighting in the water. I forget how Braun gets out. It's just a bunch of nonsense. They end up fighting in the water, though. And I probably should mention, Braun got bit by a snake. This is Swamp Fight for you. But they end up fighting in the water. Braun's getting lured in by Alexa Bliss. So Bray Wyatt has used the power of Alexa Bliss. You know, Braun's old, like, mixed match challenge partner. Team Little Big, all that stuff. Dressed as Sister Abigail, and I'm like, whoa, this is cool. Low-key, Alexa Bliss plays a good Sister Abigail, so if they actually want to do a Sister Abigail, do that. That'd be cool. Alexa Bliss or Nikki Cross or someone. Anyways, Alexa Bliss is dressed as Sister Abigail. She's trying to lure Braun in. They're fighting in the water. Then in the end, they're, like, going through the swamp. There's alligators. There's a bunch of just nonsense. They're both trying to drown each other. And then, so Bray is on, like, this porch thing. He's, like, above, like, the, whatever you want to call it, the wooden backing that, like, helps you, the ledge, the fencing, whatever you want to call it. Braun boots him into the water. We see the whole copywriting 2020 World Wrestling Entertainment, and I'm like, oh, no, it's over, isn't it? I'm like, no, they're probably going to swerve us. It's not going to end like that. All of a sudden, Bray comes back up, pulls Braun in. We're not done. Copyright goes away. Rest of the graphics, where the live would be, the hashtag, everything comes back up. We're not done. So then Bray is just murdering Braun in the water. All of a sudden, the water turns red. So I'm like, okay, yep, somebody died. Somebody got eaten by an alligator. The Fiend pops up, and we're like, okay, there's your plug for SummerSlam. Braun Strowman and the Fiend. Oh, great. Fiend's getting the title again. Fiend's let me in, and all that stuff. Show goes off the air. And oh man, was that something. Was I a fan of it? No. There was good parts. I like the Alexa Bliss Sister Abigail part. I like the overall, like, storytelling of Braun doesn't want to go back with Bray. Bray's trying to get Braun to come back with him, but at the same time trying to murder him. But it just wasn't that good. It was like half the match was Bray talking to Braun when he was in that chair, and then the other half of the match was just fighting in water. I should mention Braun lit a guy on fire. That's fun stuff. WWE PG, family friendly again. But this was just definitely probably would be the worst. Maybe it was a little bit better than Backlot Brawl just because that wasn't too cinematic. That was just in a parking lot for some reason with a couple little cinematic tricks. But probably the worst cinematic. Was it horrible? No, not really. Was it underwhelming? Yes. Was it going to be good at all in the first place? Maybe not. But I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? Tell me in the comments below. I love to read the comments. And I thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed me talking about the PG family friendly at the horror show at Extreme Rules, leave a like. I'll appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. Get the numbers up. Let's keep this army moving. And I thank you guys for watching.